Hey guys, so this is my Starry Night deck profile. Did pretty well over the weekend, placed second at AI Fest, went 4-1, so not bad at all. Much better than I actually initially anticipated. As you'll see, it's quite anti-meta, and that's probably why it did as well as it did. But surprisingly, there's quite a bit of synergy with the Starry Knights and the artifacts. So let's get into the profile. First off, we obviously have the Starry Night engine, 3 times Starry Night Dragon. So basically, if you guys don't know, he is a retrain of a normal monster, basically this dragon over here. Basically what it does is, if it's normal or special summon from your hand, you can pop a card on the field. It does target, it does destroy, so all the bad keywords. It's not once per turn, so you can definitely use it multiple times in the same turn, as long as you can obviously bounce it or summon another one, etc. That's quite nice. And then it has a few other random effects which end up being very relevant in the current meta, weirdly enough. So this card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effect with the dark monster. For example, if your opponent has Dragoon on field, you put this on field, he can't pop it, you can't attack over, and then when you attack, you can just banish that monster until the end phase of the turn. So that's its third effect, that if it declares an attack, you can banish that monster until the end phase. And then redeclare an attack, just basically getting around big beefy stuff or punching for a little bit of damage each turn. So you'll see that this is very much a control deck, which is the reason why just punching in for that little bit of damage each turn actually makes a difference. Okay, and then the rest of the Starry Night monsters I play 3 times Rael. It's the main searcher of the deck. When she's normal summoned, you can add a Starry Night spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and then all of them have a banish effect from graveyard. Rael, if you banish it, you can special summon a Starry Night monster from your graveyard, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So basically with Rael, you can use both effects. Also, it specifies Starry Night with a K, so the dragon actually doesn't count as a Starry Night with a K, like a knight at the round table. And actually special summon the dragon from the graveyard, which is unfortunate, but it's a pretty good card overall. Then we have Flamel. Flamel is basically a hand trap, so if your opponent declares an attack, you can discard this card from your hand, special summon a level 7 light dragon from your hand, so Starry Night Dragon. And then quick, banish this card from the graveyard, target 1 level 7 light dragon you control or in your graveyard, and return it to the hand. Oh, also, the special summon effect is also while Flamel is on field, so either when it's on field or in the graveyard, or in your hand, sorry, you can discard it and special summon, and when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and either bounce the dragon from the field or graveyard back to your hand, which is quite nice. It's unfortunate that it's only in the battle phase when your opponent declares an attack, but pretty good for what it is. Astel is on field, quick, you can target a light monster you control as cost, then tribute it, special summon a level 7 light dragon from your hand. It's another way to put Starry Dragon on field. And then also it has the banish effect, which is target a level 7 light dragon you control until the end of your opponent's turn. It gains 1,000. So very similar to kind of like how Lich works. Obviously our Lich is also 2/5 and it gains 1,000, for until your opponent's end phase. It's very similar. And then getting into the artifact monsters that I play 3 times Sight. All artifacts can be set to the spell and trap zone, which is the reason why I'm playing 3 of this. So if I do hard draw it, I can set it and then drop the dragon and then pop it in the spell and trap zone. Because not a lot of people play cards that can interrupt this, generally it goes off if it's destroyed in the spell and trap zone. Also, because I'm setting artifacts in the spell and trap zone, it ends up being quite risky to pop my back row. So if you're going to dust me, you potentially have the option of being locked out of your extra deck and me gaining field advantage as well. 3 Sight, 3 Lancia. Lancia is super relevant at the moment. Also, because this is part of the actual engine of the deck, I can Lancia every turn or Sight every turn. That becomes really, really strong against a lot of the meta decks. 1 times Honest and 1 times Buried Statue of the Heavens. The reason why I'm playing both of these is because I'm playing Ties of Brethren. So Ties of Brethren says target a level 4 monster or lower monster, sorry. You need to special summon 2 monsters with a different name, same type and attribute from your deck. So if you target a level 4, so basically any of the Starry Knights, they all are level 4 light fairies. You can special summon 2 level 4 light fairies from your deck with different names. I can basically summon Honest and Barrier Statue, and then Honest has the effect where you can bounce itself back to your hand once per turn, which is fantastic. So basically, just with Ties of the Brethren and any level 4, I can get a Barrier Statue lock out and then defend it with Honest thereafter, which is quite nice. Then I'm playing the Gamma package. Gamma is super relevant at the moment. It's one of the best hand traps. Also, because this deck is kind of fragile to some hand traps, I do want to have the Gamma available. Also, having the Gamma available means that I can go into Omega, which you'll see in my extra deck. It's an extra rip, it's an extra body, 2-8 attack, and then he can actually allow me to shuffle a bunch of stuff back into my deck. It makes the rest of the Gammas live when I like synchro with them into Omega. I can shuffle stuff, and then because I can keep bouncing my Starry Dragon back to hand, there's a lot of times where, like, while I'm doing my control stuff, I don't have anything on field, so I can Gamma again. This deck does really well with Gamma, very strong card. Over the weekend, I think there was a match or two where I basically did that. I was able to Gamma twice or 3 times in the same turn, or in the same game. Really strong in this deck. Then we have Holy Knight Bellfire. Bellfire is the rota of the deck, so you can search any Starry Knight monster or a level 7 light dragon from your deck. Then if you control no monsters and your opponent controls a dark monster, you can special summon that a level 7 light dragon from your hand. Usually I'm searching Rael with this, but sometimes I can go into any of the other options. So basically this and Rael gives you access to the entire archetype. You can search almost everything. Like I said, 2 times Ties of the Brethren. I'm only playing 2 in this build because initially I thought that it wouldn't be strong enough, because if you draw 2 of these, then the second one is kind of dead and you need to pay 2,000 life points. Then you can get ashed and so on. So I played it at 2. It did fairly well, but I might actually bump this up to 3 because it's just another interruption that your opponent needs to deal with, or a floodgate rather. Then I played 2 times Artifact Ignition. Ignition is basically Mystical Space Typhoon, so you can target a spell trap on the field, destroy it. If you destroy it, you can set an artifact. This ends up being quite nice because you can either pop your own cards or you can pop your opponent's, set Scythe Lancia in the back row, and then pop it with Starry Dragon and a special summon. Not bad, but because it relies on popping your card, and I don't always want to pop my cards. I generally only want to pop my artifacts. I'm only playing 2, but this could easily go to 3, and you'll see the third one is in the side, so if I'm going up against back row decks, then definitely I'll be playing 3. Then I have 3 times Super Poly. Super Poly is a hell of a card. Can't respond to it, breaks boards. Because I'm not actually using a lot of my extra deck, and I had space in the board breaking cards, I decided to put Super Poly in, and it worked fantastically. Pretty much won me a few games, so definitely a really good option in this deck. Another thought, I know people have been playing Extrav. I actually don't have Extrav to play in this deck, but I probably wouldn't play Extrav. It obviously does give you the hand advantage, but if you look at some of these monsters, these are not monsters or cards that are definitely going to be able to break your opponent's board. Even though you're getting the +1 off of Extrav, the odds of you being able to play through, like, let's say a Dragon Link board is unlikely. I sacrificed the +1 and I went for the Super Polys, which seemed to be a lot more viable. Then there's 3 times Ceremony. Ceremony is one of the searcher cards in the deck. It's a continuous spell. During your main phase, you can reveal a light fairy monster in your hand, and if you do, add a level 7 light dragon from your deck to your hand, and then place the fairy on the bottom of your deck. And then if your opponent activates a card or effect, this is obviously worded a little weirdly. The way it actually resolves is that it doesn't chain to that effect, it activates on resolution of your opponent's effect. So when they activate an effect on resolution, you have the option of special summoning a level 7 light dragon from your hand, and you can obviously only use that once per turn. So basically it is a searcher for the dragon, and it allows you to use the dragon's effect once per turn when your opponent resolves an effect, which is not bad at all. Then there's 3 times Sanctuary. Because I'm playing lots of artifacts, I definitely want to get into the Sanctuary as soon as possible, so I'm definitely playing 3. Also, I was considering playing Trap Trick, etc., but it ended up being that yes, I'll be able to get to the Sanctuary a lot quicker, but I will have less options on breaking boards and playing around stuff, so I actually dropped that completely. Then I'm playing 2 times Arrival. So Arrival is probably the best card in this deck. It allows you to either special summon a level 7 light dragon once per turn, or bounce a dragon or a level 7 light dragon from your field back to your hand. You can only activate those during the main phase. That's the one restriction. You can only use any one of the effects once per turn, so you can only use both. But because it's a continuous card, you can basically either bounce or special summon once in either player's turn, which is a very, very strong card. Most people are playing 3 of this card. The only problem is if you have one face up on the field, the second one is a dead draw, and you have no guarantee that your opponent is going to go after this card, simply because you have other threats on the field as well. It's a really good option for your opponent to get rid of, but if they don't, then the other one is dead. So that's the reason why I played 2. I said if I need to, I can search it. I have access to it fairly quickly. If I'm playing 2, I could hard draw it as well. But playing 3 means that if I draw into a second one, then it's really going to be dead. Okay, so I'm playing 41 with this. There's nothing really that I'd really want to drop because the ceremonies need to be at 3. It's probably the best card to special summon because it does give you the search as well, so you get both. You get access to the dragon and you get the special summon with that. Super Poly is best at 3. Paying 2 is really going to be underwhelming. So pretty much this is going to be the ratios that I want to play. I did drop 1 Estelle prior, but I actually put it back just because I wanted a little bit more monsters in the deck. But definitely you could probably drop that 1 Estelle if you want to go 40. Then we have extra deck, all of my Super Poly targets. I have Pearl Chalice, Guard Dragon, whatever his name is. So 3 link monsters, very good for like Dragon Link, etc. In combo, you can get rid of the entire board. Really good. Then I had the Salamandra's fusion because at AI there's a few salad players. I would really rather have the Agnista, but I just couldn't find my one, so I just played this. One time Starving Venom. Starving Venom is really, really good, so it gets lots of decks, so definitely. Then I played the Predator Plant through Fusions 1, or Fusion and the Dark Monster 1. I really, really, really like this card. When I was playing Super Poly with like zombies, etc., I always played this because not only does it break your opponent's board, but it also gives you a quick negate of a face-up monster as well, which is very, very, very strong. Really like this card. I played one time Winda. There's a bunch of Shadol players running around, so being able to fusion, use their monsters as material to make your Winda ends up being strong, and then you can obviously defend it with Starry Dragon. I mean, you get 1 special summon per turn, so you can just pop their special summon with Starry Dragon and then they're locked. And then the MVP for the weekend was probably Muddy Dragon. This came up so much, especially with decks that are light decks. I kind of struggled a little bit because I can't really barrier lock them. So I ended up like normal summoning one of my monsters, doing what I need to do, and then super polying my monster and theirs away, and then continuing from there, which was quite nice. Omega came up, but also if you're going up against like Maximus and stuff, you can send Omega and something else to shuffle it back. And then you'll see I have a lot of XYZ options. So let's go rank 4s first. I have Utopia and Utopia Lightning. I don't have any specific reason why I'm playing both of these. The main idea is that you'll see that I'm playing Zeus. This is just an option for me to get over like Dragoon if I needed to, or any other like big beefy monsters, because you'll see that I actually have a cap on how much attack I can make. I can really only go up to about 3-5 with the boost if I'm lucky. So having this to run over something big is important. And then also that ends up being like 4 material Zeus, so that's good as well. Dweller is just a really good floodgate card as well, so I thought because I'm playing so many floodgates, might as well play Dweller. I'm playing number 60 because the draw is important. So if I do have a situation where I need to draw 2 cards, you definitely do that. And then it also has a special summon options, etc. as well. So, and then we go into rank 5s, play 1 times Durandal. Durandal is probably the best XYZ for this deck because it ends up being pretty much an omni negate. So you can once per turn detach a material and a monster's effect or a normal spell or traps effect to be destroy 1 spell or trap on the field. So it basically changes that effect into destroy something. If the only spell or trap on the field is, one of yours, then you get a free pop of an artifact. So fantastic. And then the other effect is also kind of relevant. You can actually quick shuffle both your hand and your opponent's hand back into the deck and draw the same number of cards. So if you have quite a lot of like bricky stuff, you can shuffle it and draw, which is pretty good. Okay, then we have Pleiades. Pleiades is obviously really good. It's a quick bounce once per turn, so you end up having 2 bounces potentially. And this basically helped me out a lot of very difficult cards, let's put it that way. So anything that like sticks on field and you can't destroy it for some reason, you can use this. Obviously not Dragon because it does target, but other than that, this ended up being a pretty good card. 1-time Zeus. And then the last card in the deck is Dagda. I was really considering playing 2 Dagdas just because it's probably the heart of the combo part of the deck. There's not much combo, but the little bit that it does, you generally are making Dagda. And Dagda is quite an interesting card. I don't know why a lot of people aren't really playing this much, except for like zombies and stuff. So Dagda's effect is you can use 2 different main monsters to make him, so it's very, very generic. When an effect activates on the field, quick, you can set an artifact from your hand or deck. And then during your opponent's end phase, you can destroy during your opponent's next end phase, you can destroy that artifact. Now this is once per turn, so you can activate it. And then your opponent's turn, if they activate a card, you can activate it again and set another card. And then during the end phase, they get destroyed. So it does 2 things. One, it sets the artifact so that I have the option of destroying it. So like a scythe. And then locking my opponent. Or if I don't get the option to actually destroy it, let's say my opponent just sets a few cards and ends their turn, I get a body on field. So the scythe gets destroyed anyway during the end phase and it hits field. And then in my turn, I can potentially make Durandal or something and then go offensive. So this is a really, really good card. And then, it actually has a third effect. If it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, or rather, if this card is destroyed, yeah, so it's not even graveyard reliant. You can special summon an artifact from your graveyard. So if for some reason your opponent, let's say, negates and destroys this, or just pops it or runs into it, for example, you can special summon an artifact from the graveyard, which is also really, really good. Yeah, this pretty much becomes the core of the deck. I might consider playing 2, but it ran pretty well with just 1. Getting into the side deck, there are some changes that I would make. I initially thought that I would be quite strong against control decks, simply because I'm popping cards. I mean, I have Starry Dragon, I have Ignition, I have lots of other options. So I thought that I'll have a really easy run against control decks, but that's not actually the case. I ended up having quite a rough time with control decks, but more specifically against like Draco. It was like a blowout win for the Draco player. That was my one loss. I think going forward, I'll probably play a lot more back row removal just to compensate for that. But I think that's really the only major change that I'll make in my side deck especially. But just going through the side deck, I have 3 times Banisher of Radiance. Banisher of Radiance is basically Macrocosmos on legs. So while it's face up on the field, all cards sent to the graveyard are banished instead. This alone just shuts down a hell of a lot of decks. I went up against Burning Abyss, summon this, turn 1, and then, it's pretty much what do you do from there. So you basically pop the second monster that they summon, and then it's pretty much game over. It's not only that, like BW, Dragon Link, etc. They find it very difficult to actually play through this, and then there's a lot of monsters that these guys play that can't actually attack over Banisher of Radiance, so really good card. Also, you just use whatever other resource you have to defend this, and you pretty much win. Then I play 2 times Drawl. Because I'm playing Scythe, Meister, what else, Super Poly, Gamma, so I'm playing a lot of the like really good like hand traps or ball breaking cards, like you see Dark Riddle, no more. So I was just like, what else could I play? And Drawl was one of the options that I thought of. I thought it'd just be good, so I played 2. So yeah, then 3 times Dark Riddle more, like I said, 3 times Meister, 1 time Ignition. This is the 3rd Ignition, so I'm only playing 2 in main. This is the 3rd, and then 3 times Anti-Spell Fragrance, because playing a control deck and Anti-Spell is really good against some of the big meta decks. I definitely thought that would work. So overall, my results, I was quite happy with it. Actually, more than happy. I thought I was going to get like really smashed and it'll just be meme videos that I'll be uploading, but it actually did fairly well. There are some minor changes that I'll make, like I said, back row removal in the side deck. I'll probably play, what is this artifact? There's the pink one, Mjolnir, the Thor one. Okay, so this is the one that I'll probably play 1 of. And the reason why I probably played this is because it special summons, when it's special summoned, it special summons an artifact from the graveyard. The reason why that's viable is sometimes you have like maybe all of your sites in the graveyard, or you just need an extra body to either link or XYZ, and this is basically 2 bodies on field, and you can use that in your turn. So basically you can, if your opponent activates a card and while you have dagda on field, you can set this, and let's say you have another artifact in the graveyard. During the end phase you get popped, special summons another one, and then your turn you can make Durandal or one of the other rank 5s and go for it. So I think I might play one of this and test that out, see how that goes. In terms of like the fusions, I might want to play a few other variations of super poly targets, just so I can cover as much ground. I might drop the Utopias, we'll see on that. Dueler just literally never came up, but I don't know, maybe it'll be a good idea to keep it in. I'll have to see. Other than that, yeah, definitely I'm going to play 3 Ties of the Brethren rather, because I can pretty much guarantee a barrier statue lock if I can do that. Yeah, that's pretty much the rest of the deck. But overall, I mean, from being a pretty memey deck, I think it might be okay. I don't think it's going to be like tier 1, but it's, maybe tier 3, it's a rogue contender. It definitely is. So that's the video, guys. Definitely like, subscribe, leave a comment, give me any feedback that you have. Hope you liked it, and yeah, see you in the next one. Cool. Bye.